Right, afternoon guys. I am back on Sand Lake at Floatfish Farm. For anybody who watched my last blog, you know, I was supposed to be coming back the following week, but wasn't able to in the end, so I've managed to get myself on Peg 2 a couple of weeks later, and I'm here for 48 hours, so literally just turned up. Haven't started to get the car unpacked as yet, but it's the first time I've actually fished Peg 2, and gives me loads of different options. I've got the whole bank line all the way around there out into the little gully there that goes through to Peg 1 and the island itself, and obviously all of the water in between. As I said, I'm here for the next 48 hours. Weather is looking pretty decent. We've got quite a lot of cloud cover. It's been bright and sunny this morning, but I think it's supposed to be like this for the rest of the certainly the rest of today, and then it's supposed to be sunny periods on and off with a bit of cloud cover for the next couple of days, so considerably better than it was the last time I was here, when it was bright sunshine and sort of early to mid 20 temperature wise. I don't know if you can see that. There's a couple of big shadows just off that reed line there. So I can already see there's some fish in the area. There's more fish showing over by the island there. So as I said, I've got a whole range of options as to how to fish here today or over the next few days, but I think I'll certainly look to put one out towards the island, and certainly considering one over on the edge there somewhere. But as I can see a couple of fish moving there already, it does look like a decent spot. First thing to do, get the car unpacked and go from there. Right, so you can see I've got the first rod out. I've basically baited up an area just off the reeds there where I saw those couple of carp swimming around. I've seen them back a couple of times, so I've just put some 12mm boilies out and some pellet just along that whole sort of banks area. It's probably about 15 or 20 yards, just to give them a nice spread of bait all the way up that bank. And I'm just casting the second one out. You can see I've got the marker float out there at the moment, so that's going to be just shy of the bank there, which is just over 11 wraps. And this is what I'm going to be throwing out there. So it's a mix of particles. So you've got some maize, some hemp, some tares, there's some pellets in there, a mixture of sort of 3mm krill pellets and some 6mm krill pellets, and then I've just got a load of chopped up boilies as well. So there's a little bit of crumb, but it's mostly chunks, so it's like bits like that, flakes and chunks of boilies. So I've got the spod rod all marked up. I'm just going to use the spom, get that thrown out there, create a bit of a bed over by the island there, and then I'm basically going to stick my rig right on top of it. So we'll get on with it and go from there. Right, as you can see, we got both rods out. I've got the left hand rod just over by the tree line there, and the right hand rod I've put about a dozen spods of that mix out on the back there. It's just about middle of screen now. The island sort of, you can see it comes around the corner, goes in a bit to that middle section and then comes out, and what I've done is I've got it just as it's coming out to a little point, so any fish that are coming around the corner there should come across my bait hopefully quite nicely. And on that right hand rod I've got a 12mm pink pop-up with a 16mm bottom bait, so it's acting as a wafting sort of snowman rig. And on the left hand rod over there I've got a 16mm pink wafter. Because of the colour of this water, you can see it's quite green, quite murky. I find yellows and oranges tend to disappear quite quickly, whereas the pink is sort of the last colour that disappears in this sort of this colour water. So hopefully, as and when the fish do come across my bait, there's obviously all the smell and what have you out there with the pellets and the boilies and the particle mix, but hopefully they will spot my baits first, being the little pink sighters, and dive down for it. That's the plan anyway. Right, it's just gone 3 o'clock, as is always the case. All the bloody clouds have disappeared, or a lot of them anyway, so we're in full sun again. I'm not expecting too much to happen, obviously, whilst it's like this. However, we have seen a few cruising around on top. You can just see one there. They're definitely about. So my rig is down in this corner, but I've got this whole bay, so if I want to I can always move things around. In fact, as I say that, there's another one. Where is it? Another dark shadow sat right against the reed. So they're all the way along. And just hope they continue moving round and dive down for the baits. Right, it's just coming up to about 3:30. I'm actually due to be fishing with my brother-in-law, so him and his son should be turning up shortly, and they're going in the next peg along, so they're over in peg 3, so we shall wait for them to turn up. I suspect we'll be fishing on the other side of the island there. Obviously I'm fishing in the middle of the island there, so we should have most of the island covered between us. Right, it's just gone 4:30. The cloud is very much back. Temperature has dropped by about 4 or 5 degrees, and I now have a wind filling my face, so pretty much ideal fishing conditions. The sun, say the full sun that we did have, is now being covered up, and this wind has picked up nicely. So still no action, but we're only a couple of hours in. Hopefully this change in the weather conditions will get them down in the water and a bit more active, because I've seen a lot of them were just sat up on top not doing very much, but hopefully that'll change now. It's just gone about 8:30. I'm just cooking some dinner. You saw from earlier I moved the left hand rod out onto by the tree in the far distance, which you can just see over there. Basically I'd had 3 or 4 carp show in the space of no more than a few minutes, kept topping out over there. It may well have been the same one, but there seemed to be a couple over there jumping out, so I thought, well, I'll reposition the left hand rod. So I've just moved it about 20 yards further up the tree line there. Threw out some boilies and what have you just around the area, just to spread the line of bait up there. So I've basically now got about a 30-yard run along that bank that has got boilies and some pellet along there, so we should have a decent amount of bait for them to work along, and then my bait's obviously just under the tree over there. But as I say, it's about 8:30, so they're starting to show, but I'm just preparing a bit of dinner, so just going to have a chicken curry, and hopefully we'll get some action. But there's a guy over in Peg 1, had a fish about 15 minutes ago. That's the first run we've heard on the lake, so it looks like he's the first person to get anything, so hopefully that shows there now on the feed, but we'll wait and see. And here it is, dinner is served. It's doing its best to escape, but I'll soon get on top of that. Bon appetit. This is when the rod goes screaming off.
It's that one over there in that bay.
Well, there I was, eat my dinner.
Just don't want it to go into this. It won't go through the reeds, it won't be able to get through the reeds.
You'll be surprised. I've had carp dart through there. Looks like a catfish.
Where? I can't see it.
picked it up, it went up, then it started going down again.
I heard it beeping. I say it certainly sounded like a catfish run. It wasn't a charging off, was it? It was like beep, 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 and then it. Well, we know there's plenty of them in here.
Hold it, put a bit of tension on it.
What peg were you in when you had Kimmy?
5.
Oh yeah, because it came all the
Fell
way.
in the
It came.
water.
I'll say it came all the way down in bloody peg 2, or peg 1 water, wasn't it, at one point?
Why is my flashlight flashing?
It's got different settings on it. Try and hold it. Something smacks me up. Look at it.
Going again. You did this last time though, wouldn't it? You get 20 yards back and then it just decides it's off again. So it's been about 10 minutes. I've finished my curry and it's back over there somewhere again. Yeah, I can just see where the line is in the water.
It's over where.
Back over where you hooked it, so.
It's back over where my second rod is. I hooked it over about 2 rod lengths to the left.
Shut up!
Definitely a bigger.
Start again.
Definitely a bigger.
Well, there's what, 3 or 4 40s in here
If it takes an hour and you get it in
and a 70.
when you get it, just like now.
So if you had a cat gear, you'd have had it in by now.
Yeah, but
That's not as fun.
I don't want to hook a cat on a £5 rod and
£90 break.
yeah, what's the point?
Don't kill nothing. Starting to get some back.
At least this gives it a sporting chance and you actually have to work for it. Right, 25 minutes in, after about 10 minutes of hardly any movement at all, it suddenly went mental, went on a run pretty much to the other side of the lake, but now appears to be, well, we say that, appears to be moving again, but every time we think that,
In the wrong direction.
yeah, it charges off again.
Not coming towards me.
So if anyone who hasn't experienced a catfish fight, this
Not
is
a fight, it's a battle.
yeah, this is what this is what you're in for.
Especially on carp gear.
Yeah, none of this £5 test curve rods and £60 line. If you're gonna do it on a £3 test curve, £15 line, and really give yourself a decent fight. Bending all the way through the rod. Now Mark has had the big one out of here before, which is called Kimmy. He had it, what we were saying, 4 years ago, and it was £61 at that point. It's now believed to be, oh god, it's off again, up in the high 60s, possibly even 70s, we don't really know. But obviously it depends on who's weighing it and what their how good their scales are, but my scales max out at 66, they're digital, and Mark's are 55 analogues, but they do obviously go round again, so we can certainly get an estimate even if it's not an exact weight. That's assuming it's Kimmy, of course, but we shall see. He's starting to actually get some move. Well, again, the moment I say you're starting to get some movement, it decides to fight back again. That's what you want on your first night though, isn't it? You had dead legs before you got here, now you got dead arms.
It's already dead.
Right, we're 30 minutes in. It's sort of moving again. Mark's arms are killing him. And as you can see, it's getting darker. I can actually see a lot more looking at through the phone than I can looking at the actual lake. I don't know how that works, but camera seems to pick it up a hell of a lot better than my eyes do now, so
It's starting to move. towards us.
still a nice bend in the rod, but it is moving, so hopefully we'll have something in the net at some point soon. Is that, that's it over there, isn't it? I've just seen it. Is that
on the top?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah. Caught on a CC Moore
The live system.
live system with a Northern Special Snowman.
But it's what, 16 mil?
18 mil.
18 mil.
With a 13 mil popper.
So it's a fairly sizable
here.
bait, but you don't need a massive thing.
Let me come this side.
Right, come round. Get an angle on it.
Starting to go down.
Yeah, it's coming down. It's out there in the middle. Look. Right, so the result of all that rod bending, 43.5 pound
Pussy Patrol.
big fat catfish, which you could lift it up again.
Easy said than done.
Yeah, I know. You could throw a very big fish down that. It's the size of my hand.
So I've just landed a 43 pound catfish. Tried to sort my rods out, and now Dave's rods have gone. How's it feel?
Feels like a decent carp.
Carp on, carp on.
Poor piss poor catfish. I'd be disappointed with a piece of catfish.
I can move it around so you get a better view of it. I got 2 more.
But that wasn't a catfish run, was it? That was full on.
Full on screamer. That was Soho on a Saturday night, that was.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely screamer.
And me doing my
Lovely lighting.
30-yard dash in the...
Should be a cameraman.
Huh?
Lighting's perfectly on you.
No, I've got all the flashlights. I've got the head one. I've got my hand one. And
Do my
I'm moving this
normal
one.
net duty
Down here.
without trying to.
Put any of the lights here so I can see
My
this.
camera in is poor.
I can do this.
Putting up more of a fight now then.
That means it's a common.
I think it is a common.
Commons fight harder than that.
Max power. Max power.
Yeah, it's a common. Oh, that's me.
I'm trying to get all view on it.
As soon as they see the net, the commons, they go.
There we go. Got my headlamp light on it. My headlight.
They look double figures anyway.
Oh, it's double. Well, we,
Which rod's that over by the margin?
Yeah, it was the one that I moved earlier.
To where I said.
Under that
Well, I
tree.
can see
Yeah.
everything.
By that tree. And so
Oh.
where I saw the
Yeah,
few of them jump.
down there.
Down there.
Got full light, every light on it.
Right in the middle.
It's like
Come
move.
on.
There she
It's
is.
like you can be on it too.
There she is.
I've got all vision on it.
Can't see the light in a minute. It's just out there.
It's going again.
It's the beauty of commons. They come to the net easy, it's when they get to the net that's the problem.
If I see any fish, I can just do this. Fish right over there. Right there.
So we got your one back in the water just in time, didn't we?
Yep. I'd have really been up a shit streak if it had gone while you were trying to net it.
Oh, it's just come off.
Is it?
Fuck's sake. Right, so literally as we've just put Mark's catfish back, my alarm went screaming off, so I came sprinting back down the bank, hooked into that common, played it for probably 7 or 8 minutes, I guess, but as you saw, it just came off at the last minute, so unfortunately not one on the bank, but I've just recast back out to the same spot again. Hopefully they'll come back on the feed and we'll get some more, but it's one of those things. It's annoying. The longer I played it and the few times we saw it, the better fish it looked. When it first came up, I didn't think it looked very big, but I think obviously in the dark it always looks smaller, and then when you actually get it out you see how much bigger it is. But I think it was probably a good double, possibly even a 20. I don't know, I'll never know, it's just one of those things, but a bit gutted. But we're back out and fishing again. Let's try and get a bigger one. I don't know how well it's going to pick up, but it's probably just coming up to about 11 o'clock now, and you can see the sky is pretty much overcast. Well, it is overcast everywhere. It's still quite warm and muggy, so although that might be something to do with sunburn as well. But yeah, rods are out, back on the spots, and the weather's looking good for some more, hopefully. Alright, we got one in the net. The island rod has gone off, and if it plays ball, because he's been flipping about all over. Oh, come here. We have a 20 pound 10 ounce mirror. He's put up a much more of a fight in the net than he did in the lake, but he's in. And just as I was trying to get pictures of this one, the other rods went off, but that struck into that one. It was only on for a few seconds, but we'll get this one back, get both rods back out, and we'll see if we can get some more. Right guys, it's 20 to 1. I'm just about to head to bed. I've had an eventful last hour and a half or so. Had that lost common carp. I've had the 20 pound mirror, and as I said, as we were just doing pictures of that, my left hand rod went off again. I'd only been out there a short while. Lost that straight away. Basically one of my rigs failed, so that's been binned, and we've got a fresh rig on, cast out. And whilst I was sat here looking at the pictures of the fish, the left hand rod started to go again. It was a strange bite, and this is why. The bane of every carp fisherman's life. So there you are, a 2, maybe 2.5 pound bream, don't care. It got unhooked in the water very quickly. Fortunately I'm using a barbless hook on that one, so I was able to just unhook it in the water easily, and so I'd say it swam away. It kind of sat there for a bit and then swam away, as bream do. But yeah, so that's the night so far. So it's just 20 to 1 sort of time, so I'm just gonna try and jump into bed, get some sleep, but hopefully we'll get interrupted by some more carp. Right, morning guys, it's just gone 6:45 on day 2. Didn't have any further fish through the night after that little bream. What I did find when I reeled in this morning, my left hand rod had a bit of tree twig on it. So I think when I've cast out in the night, obviously still trying to get as close to the spot as I can, I've come down and just clipped the tree, and I had about a stick about that sort of size on my hook. So basically it hasn't been fishing all night. So I woke up, I don't know why, but I woke up at about 5 o'clock this morning. I've taken both rods in, given them a fresh bait and recast, and I've just put a few more spods of bait out on the island swim, and I've thrown a few boilies, or catapulted a few boilies over to the tree. So I've got probably another hour and a half of sort of good bite time. I just wanted to check the rigs because I hadn't had anything further, and obviously I found that one of them was tangled up, so yeah, it was definitely worth checking. So if you are sometimes expecting a bite in the night and you don't get it, sometimes it is worth just double checking that there isn't something wrong with the rig. I'd had 3 quick runs in succession on that left hand rod, and then it's suddenly gone quiet, and it's possibly because of that piece of tree being on there rather than it sitting pretty. So they're all good and out to go, and we'll see how the next hour and a half, couple of hours goes. I'm going to grab some breakfast. Right, it's just gone 8:15. I've just had to recast my left hand rod, which was the one out by the tree there. When I cast out earlier, I just clipped the edge of the tree, and about 10 minutes ago I noticed some movement in the tree. I basically heard a bit of crashing and thought, oh, that's where my rig is. Had a look through the binoculars, and I can actually see, I've reeled my one in, but I can actually see that there's a carp that's been tethered up. So I've spoken to the owners and basically said you need to obviously get a boat out there, so hopefully that's what they're now doing. But yeah, I've obviously just had to recast my one because I just wanted to check it wasn't my rig that was still in the water. So I've recast it, and it's basically just gone out just short of the tree, just over to the left hand side. But yeah, basically where that bit's hanging down there, every now and then you'll see that, there you go, you can see it being pulled. And I've had a look through the binoculars, and I can quite clearly see there's a line there that keeps going tight, getting pulled by a carp that's obviously tethered up. So hopefully they can get the boat out there, get it freed up, and I can get back to fishing again. Right, rods are back in the water. Basically had to take both of them out so that they could do a bit of a boat launch, so we could get out to where the fish was tethered on that tree there. Been able to free it up. The guy who went out on the boat reckons it was about a 20-pound mirror. It certainly looked a decent size as he was getting it all untangled and unhooked, and got that returned. And by way of a thank you, the owners have just given me a bag of sauce to try, a pack of hooks. So the main thing is the carp has been released safely, and hopefully will be a prize at some point later in the future. I'm assuming it's going to go off the feed for a little while, having been tethered up for the last however long. I don't know if it was minutes, hours, or how long, but the main thing is it's off and it was able to swim away quite happily. So there's a 20-pound mirror for somebody to go chasing after at some point. But anyway, say the rods are back out on the spots. I did take the bit of a cheeky ask whilst he was over there in the boat. I got him to take out a little pot there with some pellets and boilies and a bit of the particle mix. I've basically asked him to drop it just off that little corner there, basically where the tree joins the reed line. So I've got a nice spread of bait just in that sort of area there, and I've put my left hand rod back out over the top of it. So hopefully, as and when the carp start coming on the feed again, we'll have a nice little bed of bait to go and feed over. The other one's gone back out on the island in the same spot, but as you can see, it's overcast to a degree. We have got some blue skies and it is getting quite warm, so it's just coming up to about 11 o'clock, so I suspect we're going to start seeing carp milling about on top shortly, but we'll see how we go across the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. Well, thanks for watching part 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Please have a look at part 2 as well, and see if we get anything further in the second day.